Some of the biggest box office hits of all time weren't supposed to be hits at all. We're talking about movies critics absolutely destroyed. Brutal reviews, rotten scores, what were they thinking headlines, and yet they didn't just survive, they made hundreds of millions, sometimes over $1 billion. So what is going on here? Because if reviews are supposed to guide audiences, then how do movies like these keep printing money? Let's start with one of the most clear examples. Transformers: Age of Extinction. Critics hated this thing. We're talking about a movie that felt too long, too loud, and completely overstuffed. It was called everything from exhausting to nonsensical, and it still made over $1 billion. Not just a hit, a global monster. So where did that money come from? Because it definitely wasn't coming from the glowing reviews. Now let's look at something more recent. Jurassic World: Dominion. This was supposed to be the big finale, the epic conclusion, the moment everything came together. Instead, critics called it messy, unfocused, even pointless. But audiences showed up anyway. Nearly $1 billion at the box office. And here's where it gets interesting. A lot of the people buying tickets already knew what critics were saying. They just didn't care. So now we've got a pattern forming. Bad reviews, huge revenue. Let's keep going. The Suicide Squad. This one might be the most fascinating of the bunch because before it even came out, it felt like a hit. The trailers were everywhere. The music, the editing, the vibe. It was a full-blown event. Everyone was dressing up like Harley Quinn for Halloween. Then the reviews dropped, and they were rough. Disjointed story, tonal mess, wasted potential. Didn't matter. Over $700 million, which raises a bigger question. If critics don't matter, what does? Because at this point, it's clearly not about quality. So let's try something different. The Lion King. Now, this one is interesting because it wasn't just disliked, it was called purely emotionless. A shot-for-shot remake that somehow felt empty, and yet over $1.5 billion worldwide. So now we've seen it across genres: action, sci-fi, superhero, animation, same result. So what are we missing? Because there is a pattern here, but it is not obvious at first. Let's add one more. Super Mario Bros. The movie. Critics were split on this one. Some liked it, a lot didn't. A lot of reviews landed right in the middle. Nothing close to universal praise, but the box office was massive. Over $1 billion yet again. And at this point, you start to recognize something. These movies were never trying to win critics over in the first place. They were playing a completely different game. And here's the part nobody really talks about. It's not about whether a movie is good, it's about whether people were already sold before the movie even started. Because look at what all of these have in common. Transformers, Jurassic Park, DC Comics, Disney, Mario. These aren't just movies, they're brands. Global brands, built over years, sometimes decades. By the time reviews come out, it's already too late. The audience has already made their decision. The ticket isn't being sold on Friday night, it was sold months ago. Through trailers, nostalgia, characters, familiarity, and sometimes even morbid curiosity. How bad could this really be? And once that engine starts moving, reviews can't stop it. At best, they can slow it down, but they're not killing $1 billion brand. And that's why something like Transformers can get crushed by critics and still dominate. That's why the Lion King remake didn't need emotion, it had recognition. And that's why something like Mario didn't need perfect reviews, it just needed people to remember how much they loved it. So when you see a movie get panned and it still makes a fortune, it's not a mystery. It's the system working exactly as designed. Because in Hollywood, the real money isn't made on quality, it's made on certainty. And the more certain a studio is that you'll show up, the less they actually need to convince you. Next week, we're going to take an abstract journey into the billion-dollar franchises that Hollywood hasn't even made yet. Trippy, right? Now, like the video and subscribe to the damn channel, or I'll convince DC to make Jared Leto's Joker the focal point of the next inevitable Suicide Squad reboot.